And we're on.
Live.
Yippee skippy. We are
Nice.
live. We are being broadcast live on YouTube right now.
Broadcast live to
And it's also being
millions,
recorded. So
millions of our devoted fans.
this moment is being eternally documented.
It is
On
going on the YouTube's servers permanently.
YouTube servers, yeah, for all of their censoring and editing and whatever the hell else they do on YouTube. Make sure that certain messages get out there.
Right.
Yeah. They'll probably edit that out, I'm sure.
So, who are you?
Boy, is that not the eternal question? I find that I get a little bit more of that answer every single day. Why? Because I pay attention. And it matters. Well, my parents named me Gail, and their last name was Wolf. So I've ended up with this name that I've been walking around with for the last 46 years of Gail Wolf. And so if you say that, I will likely respond to you. And I am I'm an intuitive. I do channeling work for people. I do personal sessions for folks. I do life coaching and that kind of thing, and I also do woodworking and lots of good things for the world, I think. And I am located in Hanover, Illinois, which is a really small town in northwestern corner of Illinois. I can be found online at Catalyst Rising on Facebook, and then very shortly you'll be able to find me at gailwolf.rocks, and that's my website. That's GALEWULFF.rocks. And I'm also on Instagram under that same name, LinkedIn. I'm also on Twitter, but I really don't Twitter my tweet very much. So,
I'm not.
Well, I got a YouTube channel also.
I get on. I post my stuff on Twitter, but I don't pay any attention to Twitter. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is.
Yeah. So,
cool.
And my friend, tell us, who are you?
Well, my parents, their last name was Eker. I think it's used to be Uker.
Uker.
German. I bet I'm not even excuse me. I bet I'm not even pronouncing it. Something like that. Uker. From Germany. There's a river. There's a section of Germany named Ukerland.
Oh.
And I imagine that's where my ancestors came from. But my first name is Jay. What's that?
That sounds like a family vacation sometime.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. And my first name's Jay. So Jay Uka. And I help people embody their soul's gifts and their soul's essence so they can share those gifts on the planet. I do that from my office, mostly in Louisville, Colorado. If I could get my hands on people in person, that would probably be the best case scenario. But I do some online stuff with folks too. And I can be found at www.biosoulintegration.com. And you can find BioSoul Integration on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or Twitter or all those places. So that's me. Sorry if I have a frog in my throat. So I wasn't really prepared to be yet. My voice is not. I didn't do my warm up. Me, la 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 la.
Another one is
my podcast warm up really exercises.
Your podcast warm up. There's another one that I found out that warms up your mouth is if you say red leather. and yellow jacket.
Red
Red leather,
leather. Red
yellow
leather.
jacket.
Red leather.
And
Yellow
like that's
jacket.
supposed to like warm up your tongue, warm up your mouth. And that
Wow.
came from a roommate I had years ago in Oakland who was a performer.
Mm-hmm.
And she used to do impromptu, and that was one of the things that she would warm up with. Yellow leather, red jacket, yellow leather, red
Wait a
leather.
minute. Is it red leather or yellow leather? I don't want to get it
They went
wrong.
back and forth. I mean, the whole thing was those 4 words. They just kind of played around with it. So I thought that was
I'll remember that. I'll remember that for next time.
I'll probably forget.
I mean, just saying it a couple times like that. Yes, my mouth is all warmed up now.
Yeah, now.
Well, today, right, we were going to talk about pain, the possibility of pain having a purpose, and the possibility that if we can sort of get on board with the fact that pain actually has a purpose and a role in our lives, that we can actually leverage that to our benefit.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, I mean, it's going to happen. You know, pain is a integral part of life. I mean, as much as we all are sort of trying to avoid it and push it away, like it's going to happen at some point. You know, you're going to get injured, you're going to get sick, you're going to get hurt emotionally, someone's going to treat you badly, you know, life doesn't go your way. You're going to have doubt and loss in life, and, you know, you're going to have failure.
Trauma is inevitable.
Trauma is inevitable. Someday your body's going to start to break down. I mean, my dad says, you know, getting old is the shits. And I kind of understand what he's talking about. Since I turned 40, like everything started falling apart. My eyes and, you know, just here I can see how your body starts to break down. And my point is that someday there's going to be pain, you know, so it's inevitable and it's an integral part of life. And I mean, I think in my experience working with people, like a lot of our problems, there's a big problem is that we're constantly trying to push pain away. That's kind of the automatic response that we have to pain. It's treated as an obstacle. It's treated as something that we need to get rid of. But that causes a big problem in our body, in our lives, because that's fundamentally not how pain and life work together. That's not really the purpose of pain. And, you know, there's kind of some rules to that pain game. And if we know those rules, then, you know, life can be a lot more fun and we're better at it. That makes me think of a story that when I was a kid in grade school, I don't know, how old was I? It was like 5th grade or something, at this private Lutheran grade school I went to in Nebraska, and they had the basketball team, and I went out for the basketball team, and I don't know, like, how these other kids, did they watch sports? Did their parents play sports with them? I don't know, but like I had no idea about the rules of basketball. I had no idea how to play basketball. And so, you know, we ran and practice and ran drills and things like that. But no one ever really showed me like the rules of basketball. So like they'd put me out on the floor during a game, and I would, you know, I'd have the ball like 2 seconds before I took 3 steps without dribbling or whatever. And then they'd blow the whistle and I'd be like, what? I don't know. What did I do? Like no one ever took the time to tell me like, you can't take more than 2 steps without dribbling, or just, you know, all the little things like after there's a basket, you're supposed to stand out of bounds and check the ball back in, stuff like that. Like I had no idea about that stuff. So every time I got in, it'd be about 5 seconds before they'd blow the whistle on me. And no one ever said to me, you know, sat me down and like said, Jay, okay, there's a few fundamentals that you obviously need to learn. They just like left me to sort of like figure this out on the fly. And it was just like so painful and so excruciating. And I hated it, like I probably would have had some fun if I'd have known the rules, but I never went out for basketball again. And so, you know, I feel like in life we kind of do that with pain. We're like constantly pushing pain away, but we don't know that we can actually, that we're on the edge of, our transformation with pain.
Absolutely.
But what we're doing is we're constantly pushing it away. Donald Epstein, the network chiropractic inventor. He said that if you're not living your purpose on the planet, it's supposed to hurt, and nothing is supposed to take that away.
That's right.
Like, ooh,
yeah, I've heard him say that myself.
Mic drop.
And I believe it.
Boom. Like, if you're not living your purpose on the planet, it's supposed to hurt, and nothing is supposed to take that pain away.
That's right.
So, and it's my experience too. I feel like pain has something to do with our purpose. It has something to do with sort of like nudging us towards our purpose. Yeah, you have something to say?
It's a total. Well, yeah, it's a total nudge. I was going to say that, pain is so interesting because we're not really, just like your basketball game. I love that story, by the way, Jay. It's like we're put here on the planet, and there's no real template. There's no real roadmap that says this is how you do human.
Stumbling around in the dark.
Totally.
Yeah, that's how we're learning. That's how we're learning about how to do this thing. We're like stumbling around in the dark, and we're learning by like running into things.
Running into shit. And you're just like, oh man, I just stubbed my toe. Oh, I just nailed my knee, and I banged my head, my elbow. We come into these meat sacks, and we don't really know the rules. And so we've got corporations and religions and schools and parents and families and friends that tell us this is how you do human. And what's interesting is there like 8 billion people on the planet right now, and we're like snowflakes, man. There's no two of us that are alike. We are all unique and different. And so given all that uniqueness that is here on the planet, and the lack of variety in the different systems that are available to teach us like how to do us, like it is inevitable that we're going to fall at some point, be born into a family, a religion, or a school, or whatever, some sort of system that does not serve our uniqueness. And just like what you said, Jay, and just like what the Donald Epstein quote, it's like, if you aren't living your purpose, it's supposed to hurt. And so inevitably, these systems are not going to jive completely with our uniqueness, and we're going to run into pain one way or another, because this world is not going to just hand itself to us on a platter. We're here to figure some shit out. And so it's inevitable that we're going to be uncomfortable at some point. It's inevitable that we're going to feel that pain. And just like you said, it's like it puts us in a position to find our truth, to find our purpose. And so like discovery is one of the big keys, is like, what hurts? Well, what caused that pain to be there? Pain immediately leads to some sort of a deeper inquiry into why is this here?
Makes you stop and pay attention. Look closer.
Yeah, it makes you stop, take a look, like, what the heck is going on? Why does this hurt? Why am I depressed all the time? Why don't I have more energy? All
why do I keep having the same injury, or why do I keep having this chronic chronic situation, or whether it's back hurting, or organ systems that aren't working, or emotional things, or stuff that you're noticing that you keep playing out in a relationship, or
and pain is the best teacher. Pain is the number one teacher. And the other piece too is pain is a tremendous motivator. I know for me, when I'm uncomfortable and I don't like what's going on,
it's a change maker. Whew. It makes
it's time.
It lets you know something needs to change. Yeah.
shift it up, brother. Something's got to change.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of my
Nope.
premise is that like we would never change if it weren't for pain. Like people are, are always trying to push pain away, but I don't think
Yeah.
we would, there's got to be some sort of, order to get us to change, get us out of our, and life is all, of course, life is always, we're embedded in the fabric of life, and life is always creating novelty. It's smashing what is and creating new things, constantly more complex. But what was my point? What did I just say? Lost my train of thought. Uh,
Life is always creating new things and kind of smashing
uh-huh.
into things, and
Right.
it's
It's always asking, it's always, change is a constant. And so since we're embedded in that, like life is always asking us to change. And I think we would not
yeah,
change if it didn't hurt somehow. It has to hurt. Just like what's going on now. I think this is in the world, this is the growing pains, of course, to
Jesus,
a better
big time.
life, a better
That
world.
and I've got kind of two comments on that. Like the first one is that I had a client years ago who and, was living a pretty good life, that there was good money there, family was pretty stable. He was happy enough, and we're doing the session, and there's certain things that weren't comfortable for him, but things are comfortable enough. And I remember saying, like, well, if you want this to change, there's some things you're gonna have to do,
Hmm.
and whatever. And he kind of sat there, and I just watched his wheels turning, and I could see him thinking it over, and he comes back and he just goes, I'm just too comfortable to care.
Mm.
That's literally
Hmm.
what he said to me.
Right.
Like, wow. Like, well, there's okay,
Yeah.
that's
I
then
think
there you go. You're
most
you're just gonna
people
be you're gonna stay in that pattern then.
most people in the Western world are, I think, pretty comfortable. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not, you got a nice place to live, most of us, and enough money and enough food and enough health. And, most of us have pretty
Yeah.
cushy lives, relatively speaking. So,
Absolutely. One of the other pieces too that I think is just a obvious AF
mhm,
is that I was talking about the different systems that are in place, and how
mm,
it's impossible, given the variety of personalities and depth that each person has. It's impossible that these systems that we have in place are really going to enable all of us to really flourish in all of our unique expressions. And if we look around the world today
what systems? The
and look at
systems
what's
that
happening,
you mean, like the financial system and the health system and
financial system, the pharmaceutical industry, the
yeah,
the, the
those
medical
systems,
machine
right?
that's there, the
Right.
the, the
The, f-
military industrial
the
complex,
food system,
religion,
religion,
food
yes.
system, like just our political system, our
Hmm.
governments. We're really seeing how these systems don't serve everyone.
Hmm.
If they did, we wouldn't have homeless. We wouldn't have on and on and on.
Right.
We do have a huge homeless problem here in the States. Um, we would not have these things in our society if our systems were set up to serve everyone. And if
Right.
if the systems were really set up to nurture everybody into their purpose or into their highest expression. And one of the things that I believe part of these systems are set up for is to really numb us out, to where we're not feeling our pain, or where we're not in touch with that kind of thing. And if you look at kind of the way things are put out there, that it's put out there in two ways. Number one, it's like, here's the system, here's the way things are. There's nothing you can do about it, because this is just the way things are. And so you kind of just have to accept that you're in pain, but then you just kind of got to deal with it. And there's really, but when it comes to dealing with it, and it's like, well, here, take this pill. Now you don't have to feel it,
Mm,
or,
mm,
go out and drink some alcohol, or go
mhm,
smoke some pot, or whatever you want to
mhm,
do to kind of numb out, where that pain is not active in your system anymore. And it also removes the will or the drive to create any sort of sustainable
mhm.
change. And so, that's where pain really gets kind of ushered out of the way, um,
Well, people don't
where
have an
it's
idea
now
that there's something better, they don't have an idea that, like, they
better.
think
I mean,
we've been
they don't
lulled
like.
into thinking that, if we have having a night, having a nice the car that you see on TV or the clothes that you see on the commercials or having the right, the relationship look a certain way, or we get sort of lulled into by the TV
Yeah,
to
it's
thinking
kind of, it's
life's
like
supposed to
it's
look a certain
almost,
way.
yeah,
That's what
yeah, it's
happiness looks like. But there's a deeper level of satisfaction or a deeper level of happiness if we're following, living our purpose.
yeah,
I didn't mean to
yeah.
cut you off there.
What's interesting though too is that level of satisfaction in life, that level of joy. There are not many vivid examples of it
Right.
out there.
Mm.
Most
Mm-hmm.
most people just kind of succumb to, well, this is my life and this is how it has to be, and this
Mm-hmm.
is just where I'm at. So
Mm-hmm.
what can I really do about it? And there are not a lot of really vibrant examples of people that have, like, quote unquote, made it,
Mm.
unless they've got a lot of money, and then people go, well, that's somebody
Mm.
that's made it. But are
Right.
they really? Is
Mm-hmm.
that really somebody who's made it? Is that really
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's got life figured out because they've got money or because they've got fame?
Mm-hmm.
No one sees what goes on behind closed doors in that person's
Mm-hmm.
mind, or what really goes on in their hearts.
Right.
You don't see those things. Look at, like, individuals like, for example, Robin Williams. Like,
Mm.
funny guy, seems like he's on top of the world, very successful career, plenty of money, commits suicide out of depression. You don't see what goes on in behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's interesting too is a couple of years ago I went to Bali, and one of the things that I noticed about the people there is the light that they all had in their eyes.
Mm.
They were so genuinely happy. It just blew me away. The way they approached people, and the way they just were, and the way they interacted with each other, and the way they lived their lives. It was really fascinating to see how happy they were.
Mm.
And then to see in this, come back to the States and just kind of see how everybody's running around like a robot, but claiming to be free at the same time. It's
Right.
like there's just not, there just wasn't, it's just very interesting, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But
And they had a lot
I
less.
digress. We were talking.
Just people in Bali had
Yeah,
have a lot less than we do. I
a
saw
lot
people like
less.
that in Peru and India too. Certainly there was, like, kind of some gritty gnashing of teeth. But there were also people who were like, wow, you live in a tent with your family of six and you seem happy. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. What's interesting too, just to kind of to bring this back into the pain piece is, one of the things that I've noticed, just, I've done a fair bit of work with healing and with different healing techniques and so forth, and even with, like, plant medicine or that kind of thing, is when you get into a healing technique that really is effective. Healing techniques never take you around the pain. They never take you
Mm,
somewhere else to get to a
mm-hmm,
place of healing.
mm-hmm,
Even like people that use plant medicine the wrong way, that's what they do. They try to use the
mm,
medicine to get somewhere else without actually going through
mm-hmm,
what's there.
mm-hmm,
But if you're doing the modalities, you're doing the practices, and you're actually using, like, for example, plant medicine, you're doing it the right way. Like, you go through the pain.
mm-hmm,
You have to actually feel it. You have to actually experience it. You have to actually embody it. And what's interesting is as soon as we connect with pain in a very authentic and clean way and truly allow it to be there, it changes.
Mm-hmm. Mm,
When we really connect with pain and we really surrender to it, it
mm-hmm.
changes shape, it changes
Right.
form. And one of the interesting things is, even like, for example, emotional pain. Emotions are really only designed to be in the body for about a minute, two or three,
Mm-hmm.
and then they change. When you really truly connect to an emotion and really feel the depth of it and don't resist it in any fashion, you simply allow it to just consume you.
Mm-hmm.
It only lasts for a few minutes and then it passes.
Right.
But what a lot of people do is they deny it, or they try to hold it away, and they end up getting lost in a story of this is what happened to me, woe is me. And so then they stay in that spin, and it just keeps
Mm-hmm.
generating suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Suffering really is really pain, just with the component of time added to it.
Mm-hmm.
Pain is just really the feeling itself.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
uh,
That's good.
you
I like
know,
that.
yeah, it's like
Those are wise
pain.
words, Gail.
Pain really creates the breakthrough for
Right.
people, and it's like, to lean into it is to really transform through it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the nugget here for pain, is
Right.
it really is the path. And the more that we
Mm-hmm.
can lean
Right.
into it, the quicker we're going to get to the outcomes that we want in life.
Right. Yeah. I always say, like, we sort of like we get what we ask for. Like, people might say, I want this or I want that, or and then there's this pesky painful situation, or this pain or this health issue or something that comes up, and people are always, like, oh, all right, gosh darn it, like, get that pesky annoying thing out of the way here so that I can get, keep moving in the direction of, like, sort of like getting what I want, getting what I asked for. And they don't really realize that, that pain is like that's the portal. Like, go into that, go through that. That's where the
Go
juice
into
is
it.
that's gonna turn you into the person feeling the stuff and unraveling that pain and coming into relationship with that is going to turn you into the person that will be able to receive the thing that you say you want. You got to become a different person to receive the things you ask for. And pain is often that's the portal. Go into that. And
Gotta feel it to heal it.
that's right. And that's a good point too. I mean, like,
Definitely.
I think, the sensations that are in our body, where if we're talking about physical pain or emotional pain, or just the hard, the stuff that we have to feel as a result of all sorts of, as a result of hard things, that really, it draws us into our bodies, and those sensations, you know, draw us into the present moment. And there's sort of a process of
I do.
unfolding that happens when the pain and the energy that's bound in it can start to unfold when we can actually, get in the present moment with it. But there's kind of this weird thing, like, I it's kind of this paradox, like, um you might learn, like, oh, I started meditating and that helped me get rid of and that my pain went away. Or I did yoga, and I do yoga now because I did yoga a while back and it helped my back pain, or whatever. But then, you know there are other layers, and if we keep doing that meditating thing, or we keep doing the yoga thing or whatever, like, there are going to be other layers that we're going to come up against. And people are sort of surprised, that, when pain comes
Yeah.
to the surface again, it's like, wait a minute, I I don't know. There's always this new level of having to sort of surrender, a new level of surrender. We
Yeah.
sort of forget that we had to surrender to something. It had to come to a point of acceptance in some way before the pain went away.
Yep.
Like, I tell my clients, like, you know, it's like, you gotta, like, it's like you're gonna put your arm around this, and it's like you and me and the pain, we're walking off into the sunset. I don't. If we have to sort of approach it from a perspective of like not actually wanting it to change, not trying to make it change. It's not until we sort of actually are okay with it that then things often do, like you said, then things can change. But if
Yeah.
these parts of us, these hurt parts of us, see us wanting to change them, they, just going to push back harder, and they see that from 1,000 yards away, so the healing process is a process of sort of learning like, oh, I have to get to a point where I am accepting like, oh, there's pain and I don't know how to fix it and I don't want to fix it, and there's a surrender that happens, and then it often, ironically, it changes.
It's true. And it's you know, speaking of suffering and pain in a certain regard, depression is a pain.
Hmm.
Depression is a suffering.
Right. Anxiety and
And
depression, and yeah.
anxiety and depression.
Hmm.
And, you know, anxiety and depression really are invitations into slowing down to connect with something that's really deep inside that's asking for our
Hmm.
attention.
Hmm.
There's a depression is a, it's like it draws in. It draws into where we've been wounded or where we've been hurt. And
Hmm.
what's interesting is,
It's like
so often we try to medicate that. We try
hmm
to, like, I need to shift, I need to start feeling better. I need to get energy again. I need to, get back on my game and all this other shit
right.
that we do that takes us out of what our body's trying to tell us to pay attention to.
You got to
Depression is an
perform. You got to get
invitation.
back to work. You got to be able to buy
Yeah.
the tennis shoes.
Gotta go be a
Got to be able to buy
consumer.
that car.
And so depression really,
And
I mean, depression really is meant to get us to pause and look at ourselves. And you
hmm
don't even really need to know what it's about, just the fact to just be with it and not judge it or push it away. And what's interesting about depression is it does eventually start to fade over time when you allow yourself to really be depressed and not push it away. And the other
don't make
thing
it
too
wrong.
that
Hmm.
messes with depression or pain is that so often we feel like we need to carry and have a certain persona where it's like, oh, if I'm going to go into the grocery store, I have to make sure I smile at everybody that I walk around with. Like, well, why? Why do you have to do that? Why not go to the store and allow yourself to have a scowl on your face? Because if that's really what you feel, then wear the scowl. That's authentic. That's real. That's what's really going on in there. Then really do it. Quit being a phony ass. And so that, I mean, that's a really tough one. That is a really tough one for people. But that type of authenticity is the kind of thing that helps you to connect with what is creating the scowl. Like, the quickest way to truly not have a scowl on your face is to really wear one for a little while until you connect with what's creating it, and then it shifts, and then your smile begins to radiate, and the light begins to radiate through you, much like the people in Bali or India it did. There's really a beauty in all of that, in the entire process. And pain um, really is an invitation into itself, and not something that's meant to push. I mean, it can be used to push you in another direction, but it's also, initially, it's an invitation to go within, what's going on.
Mm. That makes me think of Eckhart Tolle. I don't know if you've ever heard his story, or Eckhart. For those who don't know who Eckhart Tolle, he's a spiritual teacher and author of some famous books, The Power of Now and A New Earth, and he was on Oprah all the
Right.
time. And but he he was like super. His story is kind of like he was like super depressed, and he just, one night, it was just so intense that he sort of just got sucked down into the depression. And he said, to himself, like, I can't live with myself. And then it's sort of at the bottom of it, he said, I can't live with myself. And then he had this realization around like, well, who's this other person that I'm talking about? Who's this self that I'm talking about? And then he had this awakening. But anyway, I know that's not, you know Not that it's not going to be the same for everyone, but
No, but
just if you have a
it's really,
more complete experience of depression, the sensations of it, and just have a complete experience of it, or a more complete experience of it, you unravel all the energy that's bound in that, and it starts to push you the other way.
it's true. It's true. I had that literally happen to me. This last year was probably one of the hardest years of my entire life.
Mm,
Uh, you know, I I ended up totally broke, like my mid 40s, and I landed at my parents' place and had to, we really went through it last year. And boy, I was really dark, really depressed, and just in
mm,
a horrible space. And I've never ever felt so dark, so lonely, and so beaten down in my entire life. And I remember laying there in bed one night. Actually, it was probably in the afternoon. I don't know, but I remember laying there. It's like every cell in my body hurt. My whole body hurt. And it was like I could not conjure a single positive thought about myself, about life, about anything.
dark
It,
night of
it
the
was the most
soul.
miserable. Oh, just like my soul ached. Everything. I like there was I only knew pain, and it was
Hmm.
throughout my entire being. And I had the realization in that moment because I surrendered to it. I'm like, I can't
Hmm.
fight this anymore. I don't know what this is, but I can't fight it,
Hmm.
whatever the f it is.
Hmm.
And I realized that in that moment that what's really hurting me is that I just don't love myself.
Mm,
That's what hurts is that I'm in a place where I just haven't loved myself. I've continually given myself to other people and shown up as this thing or this idea that I think other people want me to be, or what my concept of what happy is. And that's the way I was
mm,
trying to show up in the world.
mhm,
And I was just selling myself down the river constantly, and I was bleeding myself out dry.
mm,
And in that moment, I was like, I I have to do this differently, and I have to find a way to be authentic and real, and just really start being true to me, and screw everyone else. I literally
right.
Everyone else on the planet just has to screw off because I've got to start being me. Otherwise, what's the point?
Mm, yep,
What's the point?
right. Kind of
Pretty.
hit
It
bottom
hit.
of some sort.
I, I had wow, boy.
Hmm.
That was it right there, boy.
But
That was
sounds like you
miserable.
said you had a
But that
complete direct experience of it in your body. Sort of felt the pain of that, of not loving yourself, and you felt
yeah,
that you had a direct experience of it. Yeah, people would think, God,
yeah.
this can't be useful. What's the purpose of this? But in
It's the best thing ever,
in
man.
that process, you're being sort of like squeezed, and if you can stay with it, um, you'll move through it, right?
It's true.
If you can be
Yeah.
present with it. I mean, I would say like what happened or
It's a,
what changed probably was that you had this sort of like direct experience of it. You felt it in your body as opposed to, you know, trying to escape it, trying to escape the pull of that. And with our minds, often we're trying to, talk ourselves out of it or whatever, or the dark stories are just spinning in our head. But you had this sort of like, it got so bad that you had this direct experience of it in your body, and then things turned around.
it's like the the way you're doing that with your hands is exactly the way it was. It was like literally like it's almost like my entire body was squeezing itself into the center.
Right.
Like it's like my whole
Yeah.
body was just squeezing into my core.
Yeah.
It was unbearable.
Yeah.
It was completely and utterly unbearable.
Yep. Yep.
It was horrendous.
And often people are sort of fighting that, where the pain is taking them. They're fighting that collapse or whatever. The squeeze.
Yeah.
They're fighting the squeeze. But life is trying to juice you.
Boy, is it different now. Life is way different now. That's for damn
Hmm.
sure.
Right?
Having
Squeeze the
such a great I've never I've never been happier where I sit now. So I mean, it really does. It rebounds you. And the other thing too is it's not like it took effort on my part to rebound
Mm,
my life. It's like I
mm.
went through that and felt it,
You let it
and
squeeze
not
you.
and my energy began to shift after
Yeah.
that. Things
Yeah.
began to just authentically clear and
Yeah.
shift, and people and situations just started showing up in my life shortly after that.
Yep. Nice.
So very, very, very cool.
Well, maybe we should move to the next stage of this
Yeah,
menagerie.
let's do that. Do a little channeling here and see what comes through. I'll take a moment here and shift my awareness and drop in and do a little bit of channeling and see what we got here today.
You do your thing, Gail. I got to go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. You just do your thing.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for the opportunity to share this energy, this vibration, and this message with you all. Thank you for your openness to hearing such a dialogue. Thank you for your openness to be a part of this healing process that your planet is currently going through. This is not an easy time for many of you. This is not an easy time for many on the planet. In fact, this is not an easy time for your planet herself. You've noticed there have been a lot of anomalies in your weather over the last number of years. You've seen some different heating cycles, you've seen some different cooling cycles, you've seen different weather patterns. And for those who watch the weather, those who seem to know what's going on with weather patterns would say that things are changing, things are different, things are not what they used to be. So understand that you are not alone in what you are going through, as you are also living on a planet that is alive and a planet that has life. And your planet is also going through a change and a shift. And you could say that you are going through this together. Your planet And you, as a human population, are all going through this together. In the old days, when things were more steady, the weather was more normal, and people were more out of touch, things seem to operate according to plan much better than they do now. One of the great reasons for this is you, as a population, were in a deep cycle of compression. You were in a deep downturn cycle. One could say that for the last few thousand years, that your planet and that humanity has been depressed. You have essentially been operating and living within darkness. You've been living within the lie of separation. You've been living within a deep cycle of internal ignorance. This is not how humanity or humans were designed to exist. This is not how you're designed to be in the world. It's not how you're designed to experience yourselves or the world. Not by a long shot. In truth, you are designed to glow from the inside out. You are designed to shine from the very essence and core of your being with a very vibrant and luminous light that radiates throughout your eyes and literally creates what you would call a glow around your body, where your aura has a certain sparkle, has a certain sheen, has a certain joy to it. And you do not have to be intuitive or overly perceptive in order to see that glow or see that shine or see that sparkle in those who embody it. Indeed, it's where you are all headed. Indeed, it is what is going to manifest the peace on earth that you so desire. It is the trajectory of your planet. And it is exactly what you are going through now that helps to deliver you to that point. Which brings us to a certain point that we would like to make. When you are depressed and when you are in pain and when you are experiencing that which you choose not to experience and do not want to experience it, you are essentially having a visceral moment where that which you do not want is in your face and you cannot avoid it with your senses or your thoughts. The more intensely this presents itself to you, the greater the opportunity to meld and become more than what you have ever been before. As we mentioned in the old energy, there was a lot of compression, there was a lot of separation. And if you look upon your world right now, you would say, I would rather go back to the old days because what you see is not easy to look at. However, what you see is your awareness heightening to what has always been. You are seeing what has always been hidden. You are seeing what has been residing deep inside virtually all humans for the past few thousand years. As the situations in your world darken and things become worse, you are connecting more and more and more to the truth that has been within. And it is all about connection. This time is all about connection. Connecting to what is, connecting to what has been. It is not a comfortable process. However, it is the one that creates the most authentic and vibrant expression for those of you who are incarnated at this time. Indeed, there are those at this time who are choosing not to experience this. There are many who came here in hopes of being here to experience it. And once they got a taste of what this is actually like, they're choosing to go. You are seeing many upon your planet choosing to leave at this time. This shall continue for a time. Understand also that your population is going to drop over the next number of years. During this time, as you connect to that which has been hidden, as you connect to these things, you will begin to notice that you have certain desires that come to the forefront. You will have the desire for change. You will have the desire to have a different experience of yourself. You will have a desire to experience something different in this world. One of the great elements of this is that is what creates it. Desire and clarity of what you want, or clarity in knowing what you want, is the great gift of this time. Understand that because you have been living in darkness and have been living in separation and have essentially been living in a quasi-depressed state for some time, most of you believe that you want something that does not serve you. How often have you wished for something, gotten it, and that thing has actually made your life worse? This happens all the time. So understand that in the things that you are calling into your life in the earlier days may not necessarily have been of the highest nature for you to have. Therefore, you did not get them. Understand also that during this time, as you face the things that are not comfortable, the things that do not serve you in your society or in your personal lives anymore, are coming to the forefront for you to see, so you can, by a process of elimination, remove those things from your life. And we say that at this time, it is as easy as intending, very clearly intending, that is, that you do not want certain elements to remain in your life. This is the age of miracles. Those things that you intend to no longer have or no longer be experiencing will disappear. That is what is inevitable. Looking around you, looking at what's happening in your streets, what's happening in your hospitals, what's happening in the various remote corners of the planet that are coming to light, the desire to no longer have those experiences and no longer have those realities is shifting them. They are breaking down and they are being removed as we deliver this message. What happens conversely when you do get clear about what you do not want is, on the other side of it, when you truly surrender, your deepest elements begin to speak to you. Your light, the light that we spoke of that resides deep in the core of your being, begins to illuminate itself throughout your consciousness and throughout your awareness. And slowly but surely, you start to get inclinations about that which you do want, and understand and remain ready to have the experience that you may find yourself wanting things that you have never wanted before, because you are connecting to a consciousness that has never been illuminated within you before. Therefore, expect the unexpected. Know that which you want today may not be what you want tomorrow. The changes that are happening rapidly. They're happening quickly, and they are happening profoundly. Understand that what you are going through now, you will never have to go through again. This is the one and only time that you will have to face that which you do not want to face. Every human on your planet has a deep, dark secret. that you do not want anyone else on the planet to know about. We invite you to discover what is your deep, dark secret. What is it? Because whatever it is for you is what is creating your deepest separation and thus your suffering in this moment. So be willing to be brave, be willing to connect, be willing to feel that which you do not necessarily want to feel, be willing to witness yourself be that which you do not necessarily want to be, and be patient with yourselves and trust that there is light on the other side of what seems to be a long, dark tunnel. Are there any questions that you would like to ask at this time?
Early on, when you started talking, you just were talking about something that I'm curious about. Like you said, talked about the changing weather patterns on the planet. You know, of course, there's this, I don't know, talk these days about climate change and about humans having an effect on climate change. Just wonder if you could talk a little bit about what's the interaction between what's going on with humans and what's going on with the natural sort of things like weather and earthquakes and all that stuff on the planet, if there's some connection, what that is.
There are certainly connections, and you have impacted the weather, you have impacted the planet. Understand as well, however, that your planet would not have had you here had it not been able to handle you being here. Understand that your life experiment, or rather your experiences here on this planet, were always destined to succeed. You would not be here now if this did not work out. You are here now because you are experiencing the success of a rise in consciousness. Therefore, knowing that this was always going to work out, all potentials that could have existed here were also known. What you see now happening with the planet is the same thing that is happening to you as individuals on a cellular and a conscious level, is that there is a great purge. It was always known, your planet always knew that you would dig her up, pollute, do destructive things, wreak havoc, blow things up, blow each other up, and cause insurmountable, seemingly insurmountable amounts of pain to yourselves, to your planet, in the form of abuse. The pollution is, of course, what you are driving at, is the pollution upon the planet. Your planet is currently going through that which it needs to in order to clean and cleanse the pollution. Much like your bodies have a toxin removal system innate within them, your planet has a pollution removal system innate within it. Your air, your water, your cycles of even rock on your planet renews and regenerates itself in a certain cycle of time. In this renewal process, all is cleansed, all is cleared. Your planet has every capability of regenerating itself and knew it would have to at some point. That regeneration process is happening now, and you are seeing it in the incongruences in your weather. Is it a mystery that there is a huge, huge pile of garbage in your Pacific Ocean? All trash ends up in one place. Do you think that is an accident? Oh no, the earth knows what it's doing. It is cleaning itself up. You as humans can assist in this process by changing technologies, by doing things to no longer pollute, or you could choose not to. Either way, your planet will clear and cleanse itself in time. And time it does take, because the earth moves much slower than you. Is there another question you would like to ask?
Unfortunately, time will not permit. So thank you very much. No more questions.
You are quite welcome. Elvis has left the building. Oh. Well, there we have it.
Was that the the future collective us again?
It was.
Okay.
It was. That was the future, our future collective consciousness. Humanity's future collective consciousness.
Right.
I keep saying it's like 438 years into the future or something like that.
Right.
It's amazing how they feel. It's so different than we are now. So different. Wise, very connected to the planet. Very just very clear. Very different.
Well, I guess
very different.
I guess we survive. We make it. Some of us do anyway.
We make it through, baby. We make it through. That we do. So, well, cool.
Awesome.
What are we talking about next? Okay, we're talking about trust.
Let's see.
Trust. Trust.
Let's see. We talked
using
about letting trust carry you through challenge.
Letting trust carry us through challenge. Awesome. That's going to be a good talk.
Yep.
That'll be our 23rd episode.
That will be the 23rd episode. Yes.
23rd episode. Yeah. Cha-ching.
Yep.
Very cool.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, I'm Gail Wolf, located in Hanover, Illinois. I do channeling, obviously, intuitive readings, life coaching, woodworking. I humanize every day. At least act human. And I can be found on Facebook at Catalyst Rising, and also my name, Gail Wolf, GALEWULFF. YouTube, same thing. LinkedIn, same thing. Instagram, same thing. So that's me.
Cool. I'm Jay Eaker. I can be found at biosoulintegration.com, and you can find that BioSoul Integration wherever you get your podcasts, on all the social media platforms, etc. Look me up at biosoulintegration.com, and I have on my website there, I have you can put your email address in, and you can get a guide that helps you learn the 12 stages of healing, and which of those stages you're in right now. You take a little quiz, just a 1-question quiz, and it spits out a report for you where you tells you which of the 12 stages of healing you're in right now. Then there's 2 forces that motivate our evolution, and which of those forces is impacting you right now, so you can sort of orient yourself on the healing path. Yep.
Genius. Genius. Love it, Jay.
Cool. Thanks, Gail. Thanks everybody for
All right,
watching.
man. Thank you, Jay. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening, everyone. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Take care.